However, in the 21st century, when you're living in such a globalized, it's not a community, because in a community people tend to get on, but in a globalized world, how can you make it so narrow? I mean, surely these kids in Pakistan need a view of the whole world. You know, yes, obviously we need to know who our founding fathers are, and you know, the person whose dream this, why this country is existing. But we need to know about the rest of the world too, right?
We want to know about the rest of the world. First of all, let's just set the priority here.
Okay.
Unless we identify ourselves and clear that identity to the child, he is going to long for that identity anyway. Okay, so if you're not going to give him his own identity of our own, he is going to long for some other identity because he's got to have his own being declared somewhere. This is basic psychology. Now, unless we are able and apt to clarify the purpose of this specific country and his being here, he is going to long or search for it, and he is. You know what? I'm not even going to stop. Cannot stop the onslaught of information that our kids are, not just through social media, but through all the other means that he's going to get. Now, God knows what he's going to get because we had a cell phone and we're still going crazy about it, right? So, what I'm saying is the pollution is not stopping. We have to quarantine as soon as possible, and unless we do that.
Very dramatic word. Like, this is a very serious situation. I know it's very serious, but it's sounding like, you know, like some sort of like epidemic is on the loose and we're all going to like die.
Well, I'll tell you why we have that sort of mindset, because
tell me.
The death of the body is a very small event, but the death of a nation is the biggest event. Okay, and we're decaying so fast because, as I just told you, unless we remind our kids, they're not going to remind us back, okay?
Okay, now in order to remind the children, don't the adults need to be very clear in their mind what they're doing as well?
Exactly.
So, I mean, you're talking about training from a young age, but the people who are training them, are they on the same page as you? Because I mean, I think there's only been 1 or 2 generations who haven't really had much of an identity crisis within Pakistan. I mean, you know, it's a very young nation. People are still figuring things out. So.
Actually, it's we're on the brink of it, because our grandfathers, okay, they had no identity crisis. They knew what they were striving for. Our fathers were enjoying the inheritance that they got as you know, as pure concepts.
True.
We got Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're right. We're gonna get a lot of information. It's good to know, but the more information we're gonna get, the farther we're gonna go from the purpose, because the information has to come from within. It does not matter what happens in New York for a guy living in Miawali. You have to understand that. But that is his top agenda to find out. This is why I'm saying this is an emergency. Unless he finds out the core of his being, he's going to have no esteem. Forget
okay, so tell me this. Okay, so you said you have to start before university level. It should be started at like kindergarten. So you started this kindergarten leadership program, correct? Now tell us about this.
Okay. There's this core, the purpose of leadership, and there's this hygiene around it. These are the characteristics of a man that actually help achieve that purpose. Now, unless we clarify the Iqbal's dream to the kids, I'm going to give you an example. 124,000 people came one after the other, reminding us of the real purpose of the human being. Okay, and all of them succeeded every single time. And I'm talking about the prophets. And only 3 years of preaching of Isa alayhi salam, 3 billion Christians are following Christianity. It's only 3 years, and that's a tiny little spot in the canvas. Okay. 23 years of that purposeful.
This is a dangerous. So you're going. Okay, so.
What I'm saying is, if the purpose is clear, the clarity and the reminder is given by each other to each other. This is why our biggest psychologist of my child is his classmate. He's not listening to his teachers or his parents because he's looking for that outlet. And that specific thing is given by his peer. His 8-year-old classmate is going to tell him how to dream. Our teachers have never, you know, our system is designed so way that we got the most effective education system from wherever, and we installed it. It's like Windows 3.1 we're running right now inside our system for our kids. What happens is, if you have no clarity, anyone who's going to get you any sort of information, you're going to have to rely on that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, now because we are running short of time, but tell me one thing. So source code's mission and its aim and objective with this kindergarten leadership as well. I want you to talk about this a bit more because we are running out of time. What are your aims and objectives now? What are your practical solutions for everything that you've highlighted now? This epidemic?
There's a mission statement for this program. It's called "Weak purpose weakens the man, strong purpose strengthens the man." Okay, we're actually trying to inculcate the base awareness inside children, because we can only do so much. After that, the whole community has to come into play and try and help that child to grow into his actual identity. Now, the hygiene factors is called character building. Okay, this is something we're trying to train teachers on, so that they can actually, first of all, it cannot be outside the core. Has to be for those specific people, relevant for those specific people, and then the characteristics have to be trained by the teachers. Not taught, but trained. Character cannot be taught. It has to be trained. This is an activity. It's kinetics. And we're actually using the potential energy rather than the kinetic energy.
Right.
So the more characters you're going to inculcate, the closer it's going to get to the purpose.
Right.
And those characters and these virtues are going to get a permanent reminder throughout his life.
And now within this program, what methodologies, what kind of stuff are you using? Do you have, I mean, obviously you're training yourself, but you can't train over 60% of the population of Pakistan is youth, so obviously you can't reach all of them. So how are you making sure that psychologically the theories are sound, the models are sound, and actually they're applicable to the society here?
First of all, I am an MS in psychology. I've written 27 journals by now. After
Excellent.
one, you get a doctoral thesis. But what I'm saying is, how do we cater to the needs of millions? There's this theory of Howard Gardner. We're actually trying to implement that, and we're going to actually go a little beyond that as well, because that's not the end of it. There are 6-7 modalities of a child where he learns. We're trying to actually get teachers to get aware that unless they know the primary learning modality of the child, the blackboard and the chalk is not going to cater to all the needs of the brains in the classroom. These children are, or even me, I'm a retard when I'm not being taught by my primary modality. I cannot learn through a chalk and a blackboard. I have to be involved. I'm kinesthetic. Unless you involve me in a process, I'm not going to learn. So we're trying to train the teachers through a program so that one process change can trigger into the whole canvas.
So that means like a whole kind of overhaul of the education system to a certain degree, because I mean that's not how they teach anything here.
Yeah, well, that's desperate measures.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and so I'd like to take and if there is any last message from you, is there something that you'd like to share with all our viewers today who are watching? What would you say? But try with a smile on your face.
Well, actually, yeah. I'm actually very concerned. I just want to show my anguish with a smile on my face.
No, your anguish was quite obvious from this.
Because unless we realize that our kids, we're losing our kids to the American dream or the irrelevant purpose, we are not going to do something about it. And the best thing about Pakistan and any other country, it's in the make of the man, that he's the most caring about his own child. I'm not trying to tell you to start caring about every child in the world. It'll come, inshallah. But if you care so much for your own child, you'll have to actually work on defining the purpose initially and working on it and practice it yourself, so that actually he gets a reminder from the home as well as from the school. Companies like ours are only going to do so much. The real job falls right on the shoulders of the parents, and most of the time he spends with his peers and his friends. You have to really understand that they're going to keep making him forget about that purpose, because unless he's well grounded with his principles, anyone can take him away from it. So take it very seriously. Spend all the time, money, and energy, and effort and space on inculcating that specific core, and keep him to the core. It does not matter what kind of poor nation we are. It does not matter what the currency rate of Pakistan rupees. What matters is what is the value of a Pakistani man in front of his own self, and that comes from the house.
Great.